I wanted to go ahead and show you my Travel Watercolor Kit, at least as it exists in its current form. And I rely pretty heavily on water brushes, although I do have one travel flat. I also utilize paper towels for scrubbing my brushes off onto, small travel size watercolor sketchbooks, and a Kuretake watercolor kit. There's a method to the madness you see in this kit. These are all pre-mixes. So these are colors like this gray or this sort of muted brown or this yellow green, or this turns into a sky blue. It's a blue and violet or a green blue here. These all are pre-mixed. I just have to add water, reactivate it, maybe add a little more color. But they allow me to get started painting much quicker than if I were starting with a blank palette. And here's an example of one of my travel watercolor sketches. It's of a daylily that I painted when I was in Luling, Louisiana. And I did that using a combination of this travel flat and these watercolor brushes. The Sakura Koi watercolor brushes are more used to put down large amounts of water than they are for painting because they tend to be a little leaky. I rely a bit more heavily on the Kuretake and Niji water brushes. I have a fine and a medium, and as with regular watercolor, when you're doing travel watercolors, you want to start large and work small, otherwise it will look sort of muddy. So what I will do is I'll squeeze out a fair amount of water into one of these pans, use my flat to mix it up and activate it, and apply the wash. So another thing in my travel watercolor kit is a water fast pigment marker, and I really like Sakura microns for this purpose. They're inexpensive, they're easy to find, they lay down a consistent line, they can work on slightly damp images, which is something that not a lot of these sort of things can do. And I'm not super picky about my travel watercolor paper. This is Marumon watercolor paper I got at Jerry's Artorama. This is a handbook, and I've used these for a while. This is a new handbook though, that I picked up at Plaza. As long as it can fit in my watercolor kit, it's good to go. So this is the bag that I put all of my watercolor stuff in. It is a waterproof, except for the zipper, mesh bag in case the pins leak. And everything fits inside of it. Sort of working in reverse by trying to do this on camera. So those will fit in there. You know what? I'm going to put everything in the bag and then resume filming. That should be easier. So when loading up my watercolor bag, I do have a preferred method. Watercolor kit goes in the front, preferably dry. My two watercolor sketchbooks in the middle where it's whitest. Then my brushes and my paper towels, which are used to not only dab up excess watercolor, help clean the palette, but also to scrub my brushes on to get rid of excess color. So before I start painting, I like to refill all of my water brushes, make sure they're all completely filled, and sometimes I'll also grab a handful of tissues and throw them in there as well, just in case of emergencies. So that is my basic travel watercolor kit. I hope you guys found this helpful, interesting, and informative. I enjoy the Kuretake kit that I'm using. It's fairly small, it's purse size, and it came pre-filled. Their idea of pan watercolors is more like liquid watercolors that have dried, which is fine with me. That's what I use in my normal palette anyway. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and consider subscribing to this channel for more arty goodness. I'll see you guys later. Bye! In the last video, we talked a little bit about my personal travel watercolor set. There are loads of other ways that you can travel while watercoloring or watercolor while traveling. First off, here are some alternate papers in case the two I suggested to you in that video, the Marumon sketchbook and the handbook with watercolor paper, just don't cut it for you. We have a Fluid 100. This is a cotton rag based watercolor paper, so it's actually very nice, and it is block bound, so it's not going to buckle. Aquarelle Artistico, which is also cotton and also bound on a book. Sort of the dark horse that I really enjoy, Cheap Joe's Kilimanjaro. It is a really nice, very textured cotton watercolor paper. It's sort of a knot press in that it's very rough, which I really like for loose sort of gestural sketches. And then also the teeny tiny sample packs from Legion. This is actually the Stonehenge pack. I think I meant to grab their watercolor paper, but that's cool. I can tell. Oh no, that is their watercolor paper. That's their Aqua cold press. Also great, and it's in a really convenient mini size, perfect for your pocket, perfect to put together with your itty bitty handmade travel watercolor set. Did I get ink? No. Okay, so to make this set, I have a video tutorial, but in case you could not catch that video, maybe it's not up yet, I spray painted the interior of a pill case from Target. In order to have a white surface. I put in a cheap little sponge from another watercolor set that I disassembled, 6 pans filled with the Daniel Smith mixing colors, and this tiny little water brush. And these little Sakura of America water brushes have a little black stopper, and that allows you to disassemble this, stop up the water that's inside, and put both halves inside of here. And I've already left it dirty so that I have some colors to start from. Cheap Joe's also sells these sample packs fairly inexpensively in this cute little egg crate sort of thing. And these are great for travel too. I've had this for a while and I need to go ahead and use it. And here is a watercolor sketch using this travel pack from the other day. I'm still getting used to the Daniel Smith watercolors, but this was done on the Kilimanjaro paper, and the paper was a delight, although in humid climates it does take longer to dry. So this is small enough to fit in your pocket or purse, so it might be ideal for sort of urban sketching, whereas my larger watercolor kit is when you have decided that you're going to paint while traveling. So I hope you found this follow-up video to be helpful and useful. If you did, make sure you leave a like, and if you have any suggestions, questions, or comments, let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoy this sort of content, make sure you subscribe for even more. Bye guys!